How you doing?
Good
Thank
guys, how
you.
you going?
Good.
Doing
Very
well.
well.
Hey, you must be feeling it at the moment. The album Victory Garden's been out for a couple of days now. How have you found that it has landed with the audience?
I mean, you know, we've had a great feeling about this process from like making the record to I think we've been around in this enough now where we know and we to trust that feeling that it feels good. The fans have been enjoying it. We've just been on the beginning of a long ride, which we're excited to, you know, be out on and share with the world.
Man, it's exciting. Obviously, you spend so much time in promo for an album. There's all the machinations after recording it that often dwarf the process. But I guess it must have that feeling of, I mean, almost like an excitement with a sense of relief as well that it's finally out there. Do you kind of feel both of those things sort of like balanced out between each other?
Definitely. It's a surreal experience. It never, you kind of forget, putting out a record. This is our sixth record now. And I try to convince myself that it doesn't affect me or my nervous system, but it definitely does in ways, if even if subconscious. But it's like as we keep doing this, I think, and we talk about this a lot. It's like how do we go through this process after we put everything on the table into this record and so much love and so much of ourselves, and then when we release it we let it fly. We let the balloon go and
Hmm.
enjoy that process. So it's still a learning process for all of us, and it's a
Yeah.
constant practice for us, just as is life. Now, Eric, I saw you guys were recently in a record shop, and you pulled out a Bruce Springsteen record, and uh, coincidentally, the very record that was produced by Brendan O'Brien that you got to work with on Victory Garden. So, how was that experience for you guys working with Brendan? Oh my God, it was incredible. I mean, that particular record was a big inspiration of why we wanted to reach out to Brendan. It was, I was born in Jersey. I claim Southern California, but my parents are from Jersey. I was actually born there, and so Bruce was a big part of my life, and The Rising in particular, I'd say is one of my all-time favorite records, and just the energy that he's able to capture and the amount of experience he has working with bands, the ability to kind of get us out of our heads and just trust the process and enjoy the process. It was a joy to work with him.
Yeah, look, I guess I have a question for both of you and this one. I mean, when you guys started, the world was a very different place. I mean, both in terms of how things worked, like politically, and how I guess it felt to just be a person making music. And of course, like social media and the way that that's influenced how music is disseminated. Like, how does it feel to release an album in 2026 versus like 2010? Is there more pressure now, do you think? Like, do you feel like there's more bases that you have to have covered, or do you enjoy it more because you get to sort of format your music differently? You get to think about,
Mm.
okay, when I'm writing this stuff, like lyrically, I feel like I have a story to tell that can, play in people's feeds, and I can use my music to reach people in that way now. Like, is it positive, or do you find that it sort of gets a bit too much sometimes?
I mean, I feel like the constant that we've seen throughout, the 15 years is that it's always starkly different. Every record, there's something different, potentially like leading to where we are now, but there have been some side quests along the way. It is, it's something that we are in real time process of doing, and I do see that there's so much catharsis in being able to directly interact with your fans in a much more immediate way. I think for musicians, a lot of the time, we work on a record and there's so much music that we haven't shared, or it takes a long time for us to get that music out there. Whereas, we can go anywhere on social media and just like perform the song together. And that is an authentic rendition of that song and connect with people in a visceral way, which is, the point, you know. So it's been different, and I'd imagine it'll be different again, the
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah, you can never rely on the same thing to happen twice in a row, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this album is very personal for you guys as well. It's been described as an ode to radical empathy, but I know you gathered inspiration from your children as well in putting this album together. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. Um, yeah, I mean, I think in order to have children and like in order to make art also, you have to kind of believe in the future. You have to have some belief in like the humanity that is there, that is intact in all of us. And I think that is most, apparent, obviously, when you are a father to children, or a mother to children, you see, um, the world through their eyes again. And I think for us, even the term "young the giant" has become now a mental state where we really are trying to see the world fresh and new and with hope. Um, and be a beacon for that. And my children are definitely my victory garden. My children, my family, my wife. So it's integral to it, but at the same time, it's universal experience of trying to not be jaded. You know?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
it can be hard at the moment, hey?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
mental
kind of
trickery.
yeah, that's kind of the dichotomy with this record was when we all got together, it was kind of like, we it's the struggle to get there. It's the struggle to get to the place of viewing the world from the lens of a child and the constant walls we put up as we get jaded and into our adulthood and yeah, and all these guys are incredible dads. My siblings all have kids, and it's incredible to see and try to channel that energy. There's just endless inspiration there.
Now, musically coming back to the album, I mean, comparing it to, say, American Bollywood, for instance, do you feel like you can just say that this album, it kind of feels more optimistic in a sense, and it kind of feels like you guys were playing with a it's almost like the rockiness is back in a way as well, and it's like you're delivering that message of positivity through like a bit more of a return to the rock sound, I suppose. Not that it's ever gone away, but it was that an intentional thing for you guys to that you went in trying to write a record that kind of feels a little bit more like, hey, the band's back and we're firing on all cylinders. I mean, Eric, I'll start with you. I mean, from a guitar point of view, like, was that a real intention for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just naturally we all were really craving like being in a room together, and we had a band house here in Los Angeles close to where we all live, and it was a conscious choice to actually not work so much there, but take these writing retreats outside of Los Angeles, just far enough away where we could kind of like be together and not have any external kind of distractions. And so I would say that when we went to write the record, we were really craving all being in a room together from start to finish, writing, recording everything. And I think by nature, we wanted to capture the sound of the band all performing together, which in the past, there's been moments on each record for the last few records that we've done that, but we kind of went into a bit of a more separate tracked, a little bit putting the puzzle pieces together style of recording and even
Hmm.
writing. And you can imagine with so many artists, but COVID wasn't helpful for us as a band to be able to get together. So once we started doing that, it became very clear that, we wanted to be in a room together. And when we started writing, it was very much a conscious effort to get out of our heads and write intuitively, try to get in the flow state together as much as possible, not overthink what we're saying and how we're saying it. And I think what naturally came out was really the core of where we were at as a band and as people, lyrically, conceptually. But as a guitar player, it's definitely a return, just like getting in a room together as a band and all performing together and capturing the sounds of the microphones and all these the air in the room and the energy
Yeah.
between humans. Even with guitars and how we recorded the guitars, we specifically wanted to go back to amplifiers. A lot of the previous few records, we were going direct and
Yeah.
exploring, recording like a fuzz pedal direct into a tape machine and straight into the whatever it was, the console, whatever. And that was a real effort, and it was very easy to do that with Brendan O'Brien's amp collection and guitar collection, to dive in and be like, let's capture the air. Let's not just capture the guitar direct. Let's capture the space and the room and the air that inhabits the studio that all five of us are in together. So it was definitely inspiration of capturing the energy in the room, of all of us performing together.
Mm. Well, it definitely comes through in droves on the guitar, especially, and I mean, I would have been very impressed if you were able to get that sound from in the box, you know. So
Right,
I
right,
I did really imagine that there was a lot of time and effort that went into that, and yeah, the tone was dialed in, and I imagined all of that happening. So it's really interesting to hear that, I suppose, from you in that regard, because if you have the air, I mean, use it. You know, you can always just plug in if you don't, if you have the
right.
option, exercise it.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a general thing where a lot of people are doing a lot in the box. I think that this particular record we wanted to really capture the room as well.
Mm. And vocally, I suppose for you, Samir, did you feel like that was? I mean, recording vocals is always an interesting thing. I mean, you can do it alone, you can send it in, you can work on it, you know, in your own sort of time, so you can be like super pedantic about every little thing. Like, how was the process for you? And of course, so many of your songs have that gang vocal feel, which is like, you know, makes it about the crowd too. You know, everybody's singing along in the chorus. Like, how did that process go for you with this record?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much the same of what Eric was talking about. I think like everyone was kind of rowing in the same direction in terms of like the intention for how we wanted to record things and do everything. Like from the very top, it was, even in the intention of writing the song, is like not overthought, is intuitive songwriting. Whatever's the thing that serves it the best is the thing that moves it forward. And the music, like when we were recording, the record at Henson in LA. I was in a separate vocal booth, but we were doing a lot of these things live. And so, and oftentimes those takes were the ones that were used because they feel like you can still see the guys were kind of
Yeah,
like,
the energy.
performing together. Yeah.
Did it feel like a return to the debut album in that sense, like with
I,
the
f-
recording process?
yeah, I think so. Most like, because the first record, it was live. I mean,
Yeah.
and that was an intention that we didn't even really know we wanted, but it ended up just being the right thing. And this was an intentional choice to at least get back to live recording in that way.
Mm. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, and in terms of like the live performances and stuff, do you still find you have that same approach of like when you're recording, you're thinking about like how do we deliver this live?
Yeah, in a way, I think with Brendan, we went into making this record in a way where we're like, okay, we know we want to capture the live energy. We know that a lot of these songs are asking for that. But there's a few where they weren't necessarily asking for that fully. So it was kind of for us, what's best for the song. And it's the same live. It's like, what is best? How do we best represent this song? And a lot of people who see us live, I absolutely love being in the studio, and I absolutely like it's my favorite thing in the world to be in the studio. And I think over the years, people have seen us live and said, I love the energy. Like I actually prefer seeing you guys live, and I love your
Mm.
records, but I prefer seeing you live. I think this is the closest we've gotten um, to capturing how we sound live on a record, and I think that it is the closest to the first record, but 5 albums later. And so we feel so much more confident. We feel so much more able to execute and play our instruments, and the songwriting is just that much further along in our careers. So um, yeah. Anyway,
Well, you're about to be getting a whole
lost
lot of live
lost
music
my
over the
train.
next couple of months
You don't
as
know.
well, because you're
Yeah,
about to.
ask me in 2 months if I'm excited to play these. We're gonna
Yeah.
play them a
Well,
lot.
that's it. You're on the road basically until the end of October at this point. You're going all over North America and then some dates in Europe as well. I know you guys were down under last year. Hopefully, it was a nice enough experience that you'll be back, in the next year or so.
Yeah, we're definitely it's a priority of ours. We're trying to make it happen. I mean, last year we came back with Block Party. It was awesome, and we hadn't been in over a decade probably, and we were like vowed to ourselves that we would never do that again. So we had an amazing experience.
Love that. Now, before we leave you guys, obviously the album's had its singles. There's songs that people have been able to get around from social media and other different places. But if there was one track on the album that each of you could say that, was maybe a sleeper track or something that you personally loved working on that you just hope that people can feel the love that you put into it, what's that track for each of you? And if it's a single, fine, because they're singles for a reason.
Uh, Eric, you want to go first? I have
Sure.
to vibe off you.
No, for sure. I for sure. We have one. There's one collective one that we've been saying, but I'll say "Are You With Me?"
Yeah.
Um, is definitely people say it's an album track, or it's one of my favorites on the record. I'm a sucker for something that is kind of hypnotic in a way, or like you can really get into the flow with it. And I think that Already There is one of these songs where it feels like a cruiser, but I think it's really, really strong lyrically. And then when the bridge hits, it's a completely different landscape you're put into. And it's this moment of desperation, which I think is, really true to a lot of what we were talking about when writing the record. And yeah, I think that song, as a song, it's not necessarily the most traditional, but like arrangement wise, but sonically and lyrically, I think is really, really special.
Agreed. And for you, Samir, are you gonna vibe off that, or are you gonna pick something else?
I'm gonna have to do two. I'm gonna have
Okay.
to do two. One is "Are You With Me" in terms of just like a great track that lives towards the end. That I think really was one of those moments where it kind of worked in the studio. We weren't sure if it where it would go, and it just went in the right direction. Um, and then, we haven't put it out as a single yet, but it's the first track from the record, Evergreen. That's definitely a song that I feel like encapsulates the experience of what people are the world they're about to enter. And there's some, hooks and twists along the way. So I'm excited for that one.
And just as a little side tidbit, mentioning the album title in that opening, I thought was really cool as well. I loved that. Like it was a really good it's almost like you listen to the audiobook narrator. It's like here's the title, and now we're getting into it. I thought that was sick. Whether it was intentional or not, it was really nice.
No, it definitely was. I think, even Eric was, we were done so many records where there's a track, the title track of the
Mm.
record. And this is kind of just taking you in the world, but that's it.
Yeah,
And there's no song titled Victory Garden. This is the world.
It's
yeah.
an amazing film clip too, as well for Evergreen. Really liked it.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're really, really happy with all the videos, and George, the director of Columbia, is it just did a killer job on all those.
Well, guys, Victory Garden, it's out now wherever you get your music. You're going to be touring extensively, not here just yet over the next few months, but hopefully in the not too distant future. Thanks so much for taking the time to have a chat to us, guys. The record is amazing, and I'm sure you're looking forward to getting it out on the road.
Thank
Absolutely,
you
guys. Thanks
guys.
for chatting with us. This was
Hey,
great.